focusing on what you got going on yourself, what worked for you, what's best for you. A lot of people be so stuck on like watching everything and everybody else or looking at social media all day, and it's like they dictate their life off of what everybody else doing.
Right.
You ain't gonna get there like that. You know what I'm saying?
I saw your Twitter rant about people like being stuck on clout. And how do you feel like you don't succumb to being stuck on like what's popping on social media and stuff like that?
I don't know. It's like some shit like it's just in you and it ain't.
Right.
That shit just ain't in me.
You be on there often, or you just don't even really?
Everybody be on social media, but it's like y'all know the ones you can look and tell the ones it's just they live their life for social media. You know what I'm saying?
You know how to
it's like the shit Drake just sitting there around like people having more followers than dollars. And that shit just the honest to God truth. You know what I mean? And some people ain't got the followers yet, but they ain't thinking about the dollars. They thinking about the number of them followers. They want them followers. They ain't even really stuck on the dollars. Like, they want them followers. They want their attention. It used to be called attention. Like, everybody used to want attention. It just translated now to the followers. Everybody want them views and them followers. And it's cool, but goddamn, like, come on now.
I mean, them followers do sometimes turn into dollars.
Yeah, but at the same time, and shit, some people don't know it. That's not resonating with them. They just wanna like be in the mix. They just want talking and gossiping and shit to be going on. Like that shit ain't about it. Gossiping don't get you shit. I don't know, man.
Right. It's
I might be wrong, but I don't know.
You make it work for you how you want to use it as a tool, right?
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
easy.
It's like, don't get me wrong, you get your shit up. It's not like I look at social media, it's all about money. Like, I look at everything about money, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, you run your shit up, you know what I'm saying? Like, get your money off of it. But a lot of people, they ain't trying to do that. They just want to, like, be in the gossip topics and the gossip situation, and the talk and the attention. Like, fuck the money. I don't know who raised them, where they get that shit from.
Get that up off your mind.
It might just be where I'm from. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, I'm from Memphis, and it's like everything about paper with us. You know what I mean? It's like everything. You know what I mean? It's like we're going to find the littlest, the bullshittest thing, whatever we into, we're going to go back to the shit. Do we got anything to do with money? You know what I'm saying? Like, if it ain't got nothing to do with money, that shit ain't got nothing to do with me.
We are in the era of the Me Too movement. We are in the era of doxing. We are in the era of exposing people. We are in the era of the internet, people. Lewd and lascivious behavior is a crime. Assaulting someone for whatever reason is a crime, especially if it's not in self-defense. Making someone do degrading things is abuse. Uploading XXX videos of someone online without their consent violates their rights. Holding someone against their will is criminal. Verbal assault is a crime. Tampering with evidence is illegal, according to state and federal law. Intimidating a witness can be a felony or misdemeanor. Tax evasion is a crime. Bank fraud and identity theft is a crime. Knowingly exposing someone to an uncurable disease is a crime. People have died over there. Innocent babies have died over there. An elderly woman died over there. The only kind of knowledge that Cuckoo Nation got for sane people is pay attention to your children, because it's parasites, deviant, demonic parasites waiting on them. Although all cases are different, in most cases, the defendant is usually found guilty and convicted with or without a paid attorney. Just because a person consent on Monday doesn't mean they consented on Tuesday. Just because you let someone leave in January on camera doesn't mean you didn't hold them against their will in March off camera. Sometimes, but not often, these cases are hard to prove if the incident is not caught on camera or audio. and or witnessed. Providing DNA can also be tricky in these cases if the defendant and the accuser have been consensual previously. If the case goes to trial, her testimony will have to convince the judge and the jurors. The prosecutor's minds are already made up. It's guilty for them, okay? Having multiple people saying that they have experienced the same issues with a defendant proves a pattern of behavior. The accusers are saying that he uploaded XXX videos of them online without their consent. He indeed uploaded those videos on Twitter. I saw them. Not only that, he told people to go watch them. Plus, he bragged about it. He admitted to it. Tasha K ain't gonna ask them no questions about nature, the solar system, astrology, the body, DNA, none of that. She wants to talk about the case and what really goes on in Cuckoo Nation. Okay? The setup is real.
Terry left, I forgot. Yes, last night, unfortunately, she was talking back to me, and one of the females kind of slapped her pretty hard, because she was just out of line. You know, so one of the felines kind of smacked her pretty hard in her face, like, you know, and she kind of like, I don't know who did it, I forgot. In my mind, I thought it was someone that smacked her, or a hand that came out of nowhere and just smacked her face completely. And then I was like, whoa, who smacked her? And she was smacked. And then she started talking out of her mouth again, and she said, da-da-da-da-da, and then she got smacked again. And I was like, oh, whoa, calm down. And she was like, and then after that, she said she wanted to leave. We had sex, and then I woke up, she was gone, So, yeah, update. But we already know what she's gonna do, right? How foolish. How foolish of her. I don't understand why do people come to my home and try to disrespect me? I'm a royal family, and we are here in Atlanta, and I'm here to network and help. I have answers. So check this out. I got a letter right here. Stating that Natiri is taking me to court for revenge porn. Literally, look, y'all. Invasion of privacy. You hereby are notified by Janae. Blase blah. My court date is April 18th. Guess what time, y'all? At 3 p.m. Yo. Yo. No arrest warrant has been issued at this time. She's trying to get a warrant out for my arrest for invasion of privacy. It's called invasion of privacy. Read the whole letter? I can't legally, probably. But this is so funny because all of y'all know she did that porn with her. That porn was done with her consent. What the fuck? The whole world knows this bitch is a hoe. We about to go to court and have fun with this shit. Do you know this is all entertainment?
To go up to meet Mr. Eligio, her alleged, assault or assaults her here as minute or last hurrah of a consensual sex belief of a goodbye after that. The only sense of confinement was a hug, and that she feared that she couldn't leave his grip or his grasp. Last we shoot up, so I asked that there is no determination of false imprisonment and that none of the elements was met on behalf of the state. Last we go look up at rape in the carnal knowledge without consent. There's obviously no way to confirm or disprove that the video that was posted on Twitter is the same as the video, and obviously would be from testimony would be differences that this was that. So the only thing we have is a statement from Ms. Noel saying that sex did have, and Mr. Leo who consented that they did actually have sex, and his belief that it was consensual. She said that it wasn't consensual, no questions or anything was testified about any previous sexual as a what make a difference, DNA, because we both know that they had sex. So here we just basically have the he say she say that they did previously have sex, they agreed to have sex, and another statement saying that they didn't have sex. So I feel that there's not enough evidence presented in either or nor cases that we have presented today, and that all cases should be dismissed and dismissed now and not to be further pushed.
We asked the court to bind all three over as felonies, even though one of the warrant was for misdemeanor. I think Mr. Edie is kind of misplaced when he recites the law. The law doesn't require that the videos that are posted and the content that's in the videos be of consensual nature. It requires that the person did not consent to the posting of those videos. And as long as those videos were electronically transmitted or posted, whether it's a photograph or a video on some type of social media website, sharing site or web page or message board, if they were posted without the consent of the victim that's in that video, and they were posted for the purposes of harassing or taunting the individual, and it shows explicit conduct, then it's a felony, and that is probable cause for the warrant for that, and it should be bound over. You heard the testimony from Detective Panosian. Ms. Newell did not consent to the posting. This was posted after she left, and what she believes was in response to her leaving the group and potentially being taunted and harassed. We've submitted evidence about what the cult culture was like with Mr. Bishop and what he would order and demand and require his members to do when people left or disrespected him. And so based on that, there's enough probable cause for the prohibition on nude or sexually explicit electronic transmissions.
So it looks like they're giving up on the rape.
And moving forward to the rape and false imprisonment, there's also enough probable cause for the warrants on these cases, and we ask that those be bind over as well. The fact that I think the defense tries to make a big deal that Miss Newell has left over the years and come back to the cult, I'm sure this court's familiar with domestic violence relationships and how individuals will leave and go back routinely because of the hold that someone has over them, because of the threat, the fear that they have for their life. This is a situation in which Miss Newell was part of a cult, and where the Mr. Bishop, who somehow self-proclaims himself as God, as the leader of this organization, orders and controls other individual members in the group. And when they didn't do what they wanted him to do, when they didn't do what he asked of them, he would order some type of physical violence toward them. So there was a culture of fear with Mr. Bishop. This is evidenced by multiple videos that Mr. Bishop himself has posted, that other members have posted, that Detective Panosian testified that she has observed. And Ms. Newell at the end of the day said that she told Mr. Bishop no multiple times. She told him that she wanted to leave. He held her, said that she could not leave, and specifically said that she was his property and that she would not be allowed to leave. And then proceeded to rape her. Coercion or duress is not consent at all, especially when there is fear surrounding it. So based on the testimony, based on the evidence,
that's a reach. Come on now.
There is enough probable cause for all of these charges to be bound over to Superior Court.
Come on now. Come on, Edie. You gotta say something,
Thank you very much, lawyers. Based on the evidence and testimony, I am going to find that the state has met its burden. With respect to the electronic transfer of the videos, the detective testified that she saw 3 videos of the alleged victim and the defendant here engaged in sexual intercourse. And it was a surprise to me that Twitter allows such videos to be posted. But the consent with respect to the law does not belong to Twitter, it belongs to the victim. And the victim here reported to the detective that she did not give consent. And so whether or not there was consent, I think is a jury issue. And so a trier of fact should determine whether or not it was done with consent or without consent, since both parties have two different stories. And so I am going to bind those over. Now, with respect to the difference between the misdemeanor and the felony, I haven't heard anything that would make me want to change these charges, because the statute states that it's a felony under B1A to post it to a website, and then it's a misdemeanor if it's posted via other electronic means. I haven't heard what whether or not there are other electronic means, and so I'm not going to modify that charge. With respect to the rape charge, I do find the state has met its burden. Ms. Newell indicated that she wanted to go back and say goodbye for whatever reason, whether it was his request or her decision. But her testimony, or at least what she reported to the detective, is that the defendant told her, "You my property, you my bitch, you're not allowed to leave." And he started holding on her and wouldn't let her leave. That's her testimony. And so a trier of fact gets to determine whether or not that testimony is credible, or whether or not to believe that Mr. Bishop did not see it as a rape. Since he did admit it to the sex, he didn't see it as a rape, she does. That's a jury question, and it has to go. God damn, man. With respect to the false imprisonment, I believe there is sufficient testimony. Not only did the victim report she couldn't leave, but the person who called the Uber, she had to call them and say, "Look, I'm gonna have to sneak out at some other time." So I think that's enough to go in front of a jury and let a trial of fact determine.
It's too many. It's too. Look how many women there. Like
so that's why I do find that the state has met its burden, Mr. Bishop. All that means is that your case is going to be bound over to the Superior Court. Now, Mr. Edie, because of the rape charge, it's the Superior Court only bond. I can't do anything about that bond or any of the other bonds. So, Mr. Edie, anything else on Mr. Bishop?
No, that would be a judge.
All right. Anything else from the state?
No, that is it, Your Honor.
All right. So, Mr.
Panosian and I be excused once this concludes.
Mr. Bishop, that concludes your probable cause hearing. I'm going to ask that you follow the direction of my deputy. It looks like you have a question. You have a question for your attorney. Certainly you don't have a question for me. Ask the deputy to go ahead and unmute. Let me remind you, sir, that this hearing is still being recorded. So whatever you say here today will be recorded. If you say anything about your case, it will be used against you at a later hearing.
His lawyers should tell him, shut the hell up.
Let your attorney speak to you, because if you do have a question for the court, I would advise against it, but I'm going to let your attorney speak to you before I hear from you.
I've got a problem with people saying I'm a woman abuser. Because I smack a bitch. I'm dead ass serious. I smack a nigga or a bitch. I'm violent. I'm a violent person. If you fuck with me, I will get violent with you. So I don't have a problem with that. The children part is what I have a problem with, dog. Because I don't even let people here with their own kids. If I was a pedophile, I'd be like, yeah, bring your kids. Like, hell nah, nigga. I don't even let bitches here with kids.
I wanted him to know he was naked. I said, son, look here. I didn't even want him to be in a world where he knew he was naked. I wanted my son to be so pure that he never knew he was naked. I take baths with my kids. I'm naked with my kids. in front of my kids. I'll never be ashamed of sex. My son be breastfeeding and I'll be making love to his mom. That's me, bruh. That's how I get down around kids. I try to keep their purity. I don't want to take their purity away by covering myself up. They're going to be ashamed and cover themselves up. And I'm pure at heart. So you can think in your mind, if I let another kid here, I'm going to have to change the way I am so that your kid can be comfortable around me. No, I'm going to be naked as fuck in front of your kids. My son comes up and grabs my penis. I let him grab my penis. I had sex with his mom. I'm making love to his mother. After I'm done, I'm laying there chilling. He grabbed my penis. And he's playing with my penis. I let that happen. I said, yeah, look, you got one too. And he laughing. And the moment is over.
No, multiple times, but he continued not to listen to her. And they proceeded to have sex because she knew she wasn't going to be allowed to leave.
And while this conversation is going on, it's in a room with Mr. Bishop and Miss Newell, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And was she confined to that room and felt that she could not leave?
She stated she did not feel like she could leave and he was holding on to her.
Okay.
Say again?
While Mr. Bishop proceeded to engage in intercourse with Miss Newell, at any point did Miss Newell tell you that she told him yes? She told Mr. Bishop yes and wanted to have sex with him?
No, ma'am. She stated she said no multiple times.
Did she relate to you how she felt about Mr. Bishop, as whether she could kind of escape the situation or do anything else while that was happening, while he was proceeding to rape her?
She stated she didn't have fear that he would strike her, but he would order the other females to abuse her. She stated he had already done it that day and that she had fear for her safety.
Stomach feed, yeah. Well, I don't know. I can't see it.
And she did also state to you that she was crying and upset while this was occurring, correct?
Yes, ma'am, she did.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
After the incident happens in that room with Mr. Bishop and Miss Newell, what did Miss Newell do?
She stated after they finished having sex, he ordered her to take a shower. She stated she had received multiple calls from the person who had actually ordered her the Uber and that she had contacted them and let them know she was going to have to sneak out and sneak away from the house. She stated she went to bed with the rest of the group and woke up in the early hours. It was only her and another person awake, and the other person was in the shower. She stated she only grabbed one of the 2 suitcases she had packed and left the location without saying anything to anyone else.
And when she left, what date was that?
She left on 3/24/2022. That's going to be March 24th.
And she made a report back on March 30th, is that my recollection? March 30th, 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And she informed you, when did she inform you that the videos were posted to social media again?
She actually, in the initial report, had reported that it had been posted on social media.
How many days after she left?
How many days after she left were they posted?
The videos posted, correct.
They were posted 3 days after she left. She wanted to say goodbye to Mr. Bishop. Mr. Bishop?
Detective
Yes.
Nosian, before you go on, at that point when she was trying to leave, was it your understanding from her statements that she kind of felt that she couldn't leave?
She felt that if she left, she was essentially being evil to the group that she had been a part of.
Okay. And now you said that before she left, she went to see Mr. Bishop. Are you aware if Mr. Bishop called for her to come see her before she left?
He did state, he did tell her he wanted to see her before she left.
Okay. So at that point, does she goes and sees him?
Yes, ma'am. She stated he was upstairs. She stated when she went upstairs, Mr. Bishop pulled her into another room. He kept holding on to her and stated he did not want her to leave and to bring her stuff back inside. She stated she continued to tell him she wanted to leave, and he became irate and began to tell her that she was his property. I'm going to say excuse my language because it's going to become a little bit explicit. She stated he began to tell her how she was his bitch and she was no longer allowed to leave. She stated she began to essentially beg him to leave and began to cry. She stated Mr. Bishop then began to attempt to have sex with her. She told him no and he continued. She stated she told him no multiple times, but he continued not to listen to her, and they proceeded to have sex because she knew she wasn't going to be allowed to leave. And myself and Detective Moore went to Fayetteville and spoke with Miss Newell.
And what did you learn upon speaking with her?
On 4/7/22, myself and Detective Moore spoke with her. She stated she was part of a sex cult. She stated she has been involved with this cult for 3 to 4 years and has lived with them about twice before. She stated in the early hours of 3/24/22, Mr. Bishop was upset with her because she was making a face at him and wasn't keeping what he called the tune of the group. She stated he began to order 2 other women named Eligio and Zoka to hit her. She stated the women began to smack the back of her neck and she stood up. She stated she told them to stop and Mr. Bishop became upset. They continued and pushed her up against the wall and began to scream at her. She stated she went into the kneeling position and stopped arguing with them. She stated she told them she wanted to leave and Mr. Bishop told her to pack her stuff. She stated she began to pack 2 suitcases and the 2 women, Eligio and Zoka, continued to call her name and yell at her. Another male resident had to come into the room and calm down the situation. She stated she packed her items and had to stand in front of the group that's about 14 other people that lives at the location and stand in front of them and wait for her Uber to pick her up. She stated while she was in front of the group, they began to tell her it was a mistake to leave and she was evil if she was to leave.